Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Welcome back to the Our Team Podcast. I'm Brian Our, and once again, I'm by myself today, and I'm kind of liking this lonely feeling. No, just kidding. It feels weird when you're doing a podcast, you're by yourself, and you're looking at cameras, and you're like, what's going on here? It just feels weird. So I just focus on the whole podcast side of it because I know nobody can see me on the podcast side, so that's even better. Trust me, that is way better. I wanted to go over something today that is very important to me. I do a lot of videography. Everything from just, the trips we take on vacation to, like YouTube channel stuff or, even, filming houses for various different marketing tools that we need, having those assets out there. Even the filming like we're doing right now. I know we take a lot of pride in making sure that we get stuff out there. I've been noticing that there's a lot of, like with my team, I talk to them all the time about, just tips and tricks about making sure that when you are shooting vertical video specifically, and that's what I want to talk about, shooting vertical, because I came into this just hating shooting vertical because I just like to shoot landscape and do wide type of stuff, that, like the format you'd see on the TV, not vertical, and or on YouTube. And YouTube Shorts are vertical, but for YouTube Shorts, for Instagram Reels, for Facebook, even TikTok, if you're crazy enough to be on TikTok, it should be vertical. And so I wanted to line up a couple of things, and I'm going to do this real quick, and I have notes, so I'm just going to be blasting through this. When you're filming vertical, I really think you should be filming 4K 60. And the reason why you want to film 4K 60 is because you want the ability to slow that footage down a little bit, and it's going to look pretty wonky if you slow it down and you're not filming at 60 frames per second. So just trust me on that, 4K 60. If you know you're not going to slow that footage down, 4K 30 is fine, but 4K 60 for sure. Also, if you're filming a house, like an interior of someone's home, or you want to do a reel about what it costs to have a home like this, you're doing that kind of content, shoot individual clips instead of just running the camera and running through the house and just doing a bunch of pans and up and down and all that stuff. Really think about the composition and shoot individual clips of each scene, because when you put those individual clips together in a series, in a timeline, whether you're doing it using the app or in post using Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro or whatever, it just looks so much more pro, and you really take the time to do those individual shots. And we're talking about like 3 to 4 seconds maximum. And by the time you shorten those and edit those to the best part of the 3 or 4 seconds, they're probably only 2-second clips. So there's one exception to that, and I'll get to that in a second. But the other thing is, film with composition in mind. A lot of times people will film in vertical from eye level, and they'll do everything at eye level because that's what you're used to. But if you want your audience to see something completely different and unique, then flip that phone upside down, get it really low to the ground, right? Let there be a lot more movement in that composition, or get it really low and kind of maybe up at an up angle and come out from a plant or something to reveal this beautiful chandelier or something. Think about different angles, composing a shot in a way that's not always eye level. So I think that's important to make your vertical videos stand out. Another thing is, when you film running water, maybe there's a waterfall for the pool, or maybe there's fire, those kind of shots, trust me on this, you want to shoot those in slow motion. Put your phone in slow motion, film them that way, because fire and water just look way more buttery when you can slow those things down. And that doesn't mean you have to make those long clips, because if you slow it down, when it plays back, it can be a really long clip. You can still shorten that to be just a half a second or so, or 1 second in that series or that timeline of footage. The other thing I like to do is film things in the foreground. So if you're in the middle of a room, you're literally in the middle of the room, you're just walking through it, that can look okay. But if you can make sure that plant is kind of in the way and it's in the foreground moving out of the way, and you have things closer in the foreground as you push through a shot, things look a lot more interesting in my opinion. So try to put stuff in the foreground as much as possible. The other side is, the other thing I wanted to touch on is decide on what to highlight and then film it in order. This is probably something I should have put as number one. You know, if you're going to film a scene or a series of clips, you're going to make a 30-second video, try to already know what you're going to do. Don't film a bunch of clips and then figure it out in post. Put everything in the right order so that it makes it easier to edit that video. So if you know you're going to start at the front of the house, start at the front of the house. But don't, go into the living room when really you should be in the backyard, because your second scene should be the pool because it's spectacular. And your third scene should be the kitchen because it's spectacular. And then maybe the master bedroom or master bathroom because it's absolutely remodeled and amazing. You're putting all the eye candy shots up front. Remember, you're not shooting a documentary. You're shooting a highlight reel. So figure out the best parts of this house that you want to show and film them in order so it'll really help you with the editing side, especially if you're actually filming them, for example, on a reel. If you're on Instagram and you're using the app and you're holding down the record button and you're just getting one scene, of course you want to do that in order, because when you go to edit the clips and shorten them, reordering them and all that's a hassle. Just shoot it in order. So just know going in how you're going to do it, because then you can make sure the lights are on, fans are on, there's a lot more movement, you're ready to go to shoot that clip. So that's something that's really important for the post-production side of it. The other one is avoid pans. A lot of folks will go into a room, they'll literally just take their phone and just pan it left to right, kind of in an arc. Just pan. Here, I want to show you the whole room. It just doesn't look pro. You're never going to see, you don't see that in major motion pictures. You don't see that in commercials. You don't see that in any really, major productions of any kind. Nobody pans anymore. And I guess there's some use for it in certain circumstances, but a pan just takes too long, and it just will make somebody dizzy. If you want to show the whole room, then get a couple different angles of a push in or a pull out, or more of like a jib style shot where you're just kind of going up and then revealing the room from different angles. That's way better than a pan and a lot more interesting, and people will usually watch more of your video if it's more interesting and not just panning. So I would avoid a pan at all cost. The other thing is to smooth out your shots. Don't be afraid to do the ninja walk. If you really bend at the knees and try to walk extra smooth, your footage will look a lot better. So consider doing that. But consider doing that when no one's watching, because you're going to look a little silly doing that, especially if people don't know what the heck you're doing. So the other thing is that I think is really important is try to film your establishment shots in the widest setting, and then right after that, shoot a few shots within that established shot of some close-up things. So it would look like this. You're walking into a room, do the widest setting you can, which on most iPhones is 0.5. So shoot at 0.5, even vertical, and then be aware of what you're actually showing. So I'm walking in, I'm doing the ninja walk into this family room that's got this beautiful fireplace and these really cool crystal hanging things and whatever. Those things help tell the story of this house. So do the establishment shot and then immediately cut to just a one or two really close-up scenes at like 0.2, or no, not 0.2, I think it's just two times. So you're really zoomed in on those with, and get close to those items so things are a little bit blurred out. There's a little bit of bokeh in that scene. So you're doing a wide scene of this beautiful room and then a close-up of the fireplace, a close-up of whatever, some architectural feature in that room. Highly recommend you do that. It's actually a good formula to show a house. If you're going to show the kitchen, the family room, the master, the backyard, and that's just those 4 things, then you should start with an establishment shot of each one of those and do some close-ups of something within that shot, within that scene, to help sell the story. Then the next scene, establishment shot of the living room, then a few things in the living room, establishment shot, nice and wide, of the kitchen, and then a few small, close-up buttery things of some, maybe some of the burners, or, close-up of the word Viking, because it shows it's a Viking, appliances, just close-up stuff of that. If that is your formula, it actually is very good in terms of storytelling. You don't have to say a word and you're telling a great story just because of the order of things. So, remember I said there was an exception, how your clips should be short, but there is a place for speed ramping as well. If you ever see where someone will have a nice scene where they're kind of coming in the front door, and then all of a sudden it really rips you through the hall, and then it just reveals this beautiful view or something like that, that's all going to be probably filmed in like a 30-second period, nice and slow, nice and even, with the ninja walk and all that kind of stuff. But in post-production, you can ramp up that center section, making it overall like a 3-second clip, because you're taking that center section and you're really speeding it up. So speed ramping is easy to do in programs like Final Cut Pro and other programs. I love Final Cut Pro. It works really well for me. But there are also programs that you can get on your phone, apps that you can buy for that simple, just achieving some type of a speed ramp. So those would be the clips that, of course, you'd want to do longer so you can achieve that. One more pro tip, and I'll end with this. Keep angle distortion in your mind. When you're walking through a doorway, pay attention to the angles of the door jamb, for example. If you're holding your phone and it's tilted forward, things are going to look wonky because they're going to leave the frame and they're going to be distorted. So pay attention to how you're tilting the top of your phone. If it's too far forward or too far back, if it's not really hanging straight up and down, or you're not holding it close to straight up and down, you're going to have a lot of angle distortion on the walls, in the corners, things like that. The ceiling looks funky. Just keep in mind that you want the scenes to be as straight as possible, and you don't need a gimbal for this. You just have to be aware of it so you can say, oh, okay, cool. All I got to do is just tilt my phone and everything's straight. You're lining up the edge of your phone, in the scene, the display, if you will, with the actual wall. Make sure everything's parallel as you go through that scene. If it's crooked, delete, redo. So I hope that's helpful. I know I blasted through all of those, probably faster than I should have, but maybe you can just kind of start and stop, and so reach out to me if you want to. I provide all of this to my team. We just spoke about this, I think, last Thursday, or maybe the Thursday before, on one of our typical Thursday meetings. But since then, I've seen a lot of the videos that are coming out of the team showing up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. They've really leveled up just with doing a couple of these things. So hopefully that helps. And
hey, wait, before you go,
would you
do us a favor? If you found any value in this content, would you please like and subscribe to it? Maybe even leave a comment. It really helps us out.